Hey friends, tonight we begin with something ancient and quiet. If you haven't already, go ahead and dim the lights. Maybe pull the blanket up a little higher, and if there's a fan nearby, switch it on low for that soft background hum. And if the stories I share bring you even a little peace, only then, consider liking or subscribing. No pressure, just if it feels right. Let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from and what time it is for you right now. I love seeing how far these sleepy stories drift. Now, let's ease into tonight's journey together, into snow-covered silence, into firelight, into the Longhouse. Slip back with me softly into the winter world of the north. The wind had already picked up by dusk. It was the kind of wind that didn't roar, not yet, but whispered in a cold, steady breath across the land, dragging with it snowflakes that clung and swirled in indecisive little spirals. You are standing on the edge of a Norse village, not far from the water, though the fjord is hidden now behind gray mist and heavy air. The trees nearby have long since shed their leaves and now stand naked against the low horizon. Their branches rattle faintly as if complaining. Above you, the sky is colorless, not quite black, not yet blue. It hangs like wool, damp and heavy, pressing down softly. There's no storm, just that slow, inevitable feeling that the night will be cold and long and very, very quiet. Your boots crunch faintly in the snow, not deep yet, but thick enough to muffle sound. Around the edges of the village, animal pens are silent. A few sheep huddle near the fencing, their breath rising in soft, steaming plumes. Chickens are tucked away in crude coops of slatted wood and hay, feathers fluffed up, unmoving. There are no bright lights here, no torches, no lanterns, but there is glow, soft golden warmth leaking out from narrow slits in the walls of a great longhouse ahead. Smoke curls from the rooftop vent in lazy, comfortable threads. That smoke smells like damp wood, like resin, like warmth. And that's where we're heading. Your cloak is drawn tight. You pull it a little closer now, gloved fingers adjusting the folds beneath your chin. The fabric smells of sheep's wool, a bit of salt, and the faintest trace of smoke. Always smoke. Because in this land, fire is not just warmth, it is life. You pass a hunched figure. An older man with a fur hat and a low, limping gait. He nods to you, wordlessly. His breath is slow, measured. Behind him trails a shaggy dog, trotting through the snow without hurry. Someone calls quietly from inside the longhouse, a woman's voice, warm and familiar. You can't make out the words, but the tone is unmistakable. It's the tone of come in. It's cold. The tone of belonging. You step toward the longhouse. The door isn't really a door, not in the modern sense. It's a heavy hide curtain stretched over a frame, weighted at the bottom with stitched stones to keep it from flapping in the wind. You pull it aside. Immediately, you are swallowed in a wave of warmth and scent. Inside, the world changes. Gone is the bitter air. Gone is the gray sky. In its place, a low hum of life, and the thick, comfortable heat of fire. The longhouse is dim, lit only by the open hearth that runs the length of the room, with flames flickering gently across a bed of coals. Above, smoke drifts up through a central hole in the roof, curling lazily like a spirit ascending. The walls are wooden, planks set into the earth, reinforced with packed dirt and moss. They don't shine. There's no polish, no finish. Just the deep, old brown of lived-in timber. On either side of the hearth are raised platforms. Benches, really, covered in furs and straw. These are the sitting places, the eating places, the sleeping places. This house does not separate these things. It folds them gently together, like the layers of a thick blanket. You hear quiet laughter. Not loud, not sharp. Just the kind that slips between breaths and crackles, like someone remembering a good story, but not quite telling it yet. There are people here. Not many, maybe a dozen. A mother rocks a sleepy child in her arms, rhythm slow, her own head bobbing slightly as if half asleep herself. A young man sharpens a knife with short, careful strokes, seated near the fire, but not too close. A girl braids her sister's hair, fingers moving slowly, patiently. No one is rushing, and no one is speaking loudly. Here, the silence is respected. It isn't tense or awkward. It is shared. It is understood. You move to sit on one of the benches. The furs beneath you are thick, some from bears, some from elk or deer, coarse but warm. The heat from the fire seeps through your layers slowly, like tea steeping into cold water. Someone passes you a small wooden cup. Inside is warm milk, faintly sweetened with honey. It's simple but comforting. You sip, and the taste is gentle, soft, the kind of taste that doesn't announce itself but lingers kindly. A pot hangs above the flames, suspended by an iron hook that creaks softly when nudged. Inside, something savory simmers. The scent of barley and onion drifts lazily through the air, mingling with the smell of smoke and wool. The Longhouse breathes. Not literally, of course, but you feel it, in the way people move slowly, in sync, in the way no one's voice rises too high, in the way even the dogs curl up near the edge of the room, noses tucked under tails, eyes barely open. The snow outside grows heavier. You can hear it now, not as individual flakes, but as a faint hush, like someone gently shushing the world from far away. You settle deeper into your seat. The wood behind your back is rough but solid. Your limbs start to relax. The cup warms your hands. Your breath joins the rhythm of the house. Slow in, slower out. No one asks questions. No one gives orders. Here, in this Longhouse, the night just is. You glance up toward the rafters. Above, bundles of dried herbs hang in rows: thyme, juniper, angelica. Their scents are faint now, but still present, especially when the heat stirs them. The beams are thick, hewn from pine and darkened by years of smoke. Spiderwebs string between corners. They're undisturbed. Above the fire, dried fish hang in long lines, gleaming slightly in the firelight. Their scales catch gold and red with each flicker of flame. It's not decoration, it's preservation. But even practicality has its poetry here. A woman hums. No words, just melody. She's older, maybe a grandmother. Her eyes are mostly closed. The tune is slow, repeating, the kind that loops and loops until it stops meaning anything at all and becomes something softer than meaning. You close your eyes for a moment, just a moment. The warmth seeps deeper. The hum continues. Somewhere near your feet, a small dog shifts in its sleep, gives a soft grunt, then stills again. This isn't the end of the day, not yet, but it's the beginning of night, the part where light no longer belongs outside, only within, where speech becomes murmur, where movement becomes rest. The house doesn't sleep, not yet, but it prepares, and so do you. The fire crackles gently in the center of the room, and the scent of barley stew thickens in the warm air. Someone murmurs softly near the far wall. A breath, a low chuckle, a scrape of wood against stone. And just like that, we slip from the stillness of arriving into the deeper hush of belonging. No hard line, no boundary, just the quiet settling of night as it gathers around the fire. There is no clock in the Longhouse, no bell to tell you what time it is, but the light has changed. Outside, the sky is now heavy with snow, the kind of snow that no longer dances or drifts, but simply falls, confidently, straight down, thick and steady, like powdered silence. Inside, time doesn't move in hours. It breathes in gestures, in the rhythm of tending and resting, of movement and stillness, of warm food and bare hands wrapped back into cloaks. You're still seated on the fur-draped bench, but the room has shifted around you. The firelight has deepened, warmer, more amber now. Shadows cling more tightly to the far corners, and the high beams above disappear into smoke and dream. The crackling of the fire is slower, more steady, like an old man telling a story in a language only the heart remembers. A young boy walks past you barefoot. He's maybe 6 winters old, hair in messy braids, eyes sleepy. He clutches a carved wooden horse in one hand and a piece of flatbread in the other. He passes without a word, but the smile he gives you is quiet and sincere. Behind him, a woman picks up a woolen blanket and folds it over a wooden frame. Not rushed, just present. Her movements are deliberate. Her face is lined, not with stress, but with a life lived in rhythm. You take a deeper breath. The scent has shifted. The barley stew has begun to bubble now, and someone has placed sliced onions near the hearth to roast. A whiff of thyme and salt drifts by. The wool of your cloak is warming at your back, and the wooden cup in your hands is now half empty, or half full, but you don't mind either way. The quiet of the Longhouse is not silent. It's full of the soft sounds of life at its gentlest. Somewhere near the back of the hall, a small group has gathered around a low table. They're carving something, maybe tools or trinkets. It's hard to tell from here, but the sound of the blades shaving wood is steady and smooth. A rhythm, the kind of rhythm that calms you even if you don't know it's happening. Shh, shh, tick, shh, shh, tick. A pot of water is poured. The splash is brief, almost apologetic. A child laughs under their breath and is quickly hushed with a smile and a finger pressed to the lips. Not scolding, just reminding that here, the night is held gently. You glance around again. The Longhouse is bigger than it first appeared. Now that your eyes have adjusted, you see the far walls, low shelves holding bundles of flax, small clay jars, polished bone combs, hooks where cloaks hang in sleepy bundles, crude boots arranged near the door, all worn, all purposeful. Nothing is wasted here. The dogs have rearranged themselves. One now dozes near your foot, legs twitching in a dream. Another is curled beside an elderly man with a long white beard who sits silently, eyes closed, hands resting in his lap. He may be asleep, or meditating, or simply listening to the room. The fire hisses slightly as someone adds another log. Sparks rise and disappear. The flames do not grow louder, they settle deeper. This is not a fire for display. It is a fire that has known many winters. A fire that listens as much as it warms. One of the younger women stands and stretches. Her tunic is simple, wool cinched at the waist with a cord. Her hair is braided down her back in thick plaits. She rubs her hands together and walks toward the stew pot, lifts the lid, stirs gently. A wooden ladle rises with chunks of turnip and barley and what might be rabbit. She tastes, nods, adds a pinch of salt, and replaces the lid. No words needed, no approval sought. She knows what she's doing, and so does the stew. In the rafters, a small sound, a soft tapping. It's just a breeze outside, nudging something against the roof. You don't need to see it to know what it is. A branch, maybe. Or a stray hanging tool shifting in the draft. Nothing here is alarming. Even the unexpected is expected. A man nearby is working on a piece of leather. His hands thick, fingers slow but practiced. He doesn't look up. He hums, barely audible. Not a song, not really. Just a sound to keep his hands company. It blends with the crackle of the fire, the scrape of wood, the low breath of a baby sleeping nearby. You lean back slightly. Your eyes rest half-lidded, not closed, not open. You're not tired, exactly, but you're still. And the stillness is its own kind of sleep. A bowl is passed toward you. It's warm, heavy. Inside, thick stew. Steam curling up, carrying the scent of herbs and slow-cooked meat. You take a small bite. It's hot. You wait. Then try again. And this time, it tastes like everything around you: warmth, care, time, patience. The bowl rests in your lap. You eat slowly. There is no rush. Here, food is not just fuel, it's peace. A woman near the fire tells a short story, not loudly, not formally, just a small tale about a chicken that once escaped into the cold and had to be lured back with honey bread. The listeners smile quietly. One chuckles. A child giggles, and the storyteller tousles his hair. No punchline, no lesson, just memory, shared softly. You set your empty bowl down on a nearby shelf. The wood is worn smooth, the edge is chipped. Someone has carved a small rune into the grain. You don't recognize it, but you touch it lightly. It feels old, meaningful, but not demanding attention. A hand places a woolen cloth over your lap. You didn't ask for it, but someone noticed you'd stopped eating. Someone thought you might get cold. You smile, almost to yourself. The fire shifts again, coals settling. A few embers crack softly. The scent of roasted onion sharpens and then fades again. No one calls the hour. No one says, "It's time." But the room begins to adjust once more. Some stand, some lie down. Others speak less. Movements become slower. The Longhouse begins, gently, to lower its voice. And still, the night outside deepens. The snow is still falling. You can feel it, even without seeing. It presses against the house now. Not hard, not violent, but persistent. A soft, steady knock that says, "I'm still here." Inside, though, the fire burns. The Longhouse holds. The warmth continues. Your eyelids grow heavier, not from exhaustion, from safety. The stories will wait. The night is long, and you are already part of it. The woman near the fire begins to hum again. A new tune now. Even slower, even softer. And as the notes drift upward into the smoke, the rhythm of the room lowers like a tide. The stew has been eaten. The tools are set aside. Boots are pulled off, one by one. You are no longer a visitor. You are here. You've crossed the threshold. And the night, boss? The night has only just begun. But nothing changes. Not really. Just the deepening of breath, the softening of sound. The fire is still burning. The snow is still falling. And you are still safe. The fire hasn't gone out. It never does. Even now, as the Longhouse begins to breathe a little slower, it holds steady, a glowing core in the dark, its light stretching across fur-lined benches, rough-hewn tables, and sleeping shoulders. The woman's humming has faded now, not stopped, just slipped beneath the sounds of the room. It lingers the way warmth does, still there even after the source has gone quiet. You lean forward slightly, not out of effort, but instinct, like a plant toward the sun, closer to the hearth, closer to the soft crackling of pine wood and the slow whisper of ash shifting down. Someone places a wooden cover over the stew pot. It will sit there all night, staying warm in the embers, waiting for someone to wake early and stir it back to life. Nothing is wasted here, not even the heat. The Longhouse doesn't sleep all at once. It changes shape. Where once there were small gatherings, there are now quiet pairs. Where there was motion, there is stillness. A man finishes cleaning his hands with snow packed into a cloth. Then he folds the cloth carefully and sets it beside a bowl. A child curls into a nook made of 2 cloaks and a dog's side. No one speaks loudly. No one calls for attention. Your hands are wrapped around a smooth piece of wood, not for use, just for comfort. You trace the grain with your thumbs. It feels old. It feels clean. It feels like something handed down without being explained. The fur beneath you is warm. Someone added another pelt while you weren't looking. It smells faintly of forest, of long walks, of wild things that no longer roam. A few feet away, a woman unbraids her daughter's hair by firelight. The girl is already nodding off, her head tilting forward as the last braid comes loose. The mother wraps the loosened hair in a strip of cloth, and gently lowers her child onto a pile of skins. No need for lullabies now. The whole room is singing, in its own way. Overhead, the beams creak softly as the wind pushes snow across the roof. It's no longer a flurry out there. It's thick now. You can feel the pressure in the wood, the way the walls brace gently. This house has done this for years, for generations. It holds. Someone near the door coughs. A dry, quiet sound. It's answered by the faint clink of a clay jar being uncorked. Herbal broth, probably. A hand is offered. The cough softens. No words are exchanged. This is care. Spoken in silence. At the far end of the hall, a boy is feeding the animals, slowly, carefully. His lantern is low, shielded behind a bit of hide. The goats shift in their stalls, the cows give low, content grunts. Chickens remain still, all alive, all here. Winter is harsh, but not tonight. Tonight, everyone has shelter. He brushes hay toward a donkey, then pats its side with a flat hand. The animal doesn't react, just chews slowly, calm and tired. The boy glances toward the hearth, sees the adults settling. He knows his turn is coming soon. He disappears into the back again, steps muffled in straw. You lie back now, more fully. Your shoulders sink into the furs, and a wool-wrapped bundle is offered as a pillow. It smells of herbs, dried yarrow maybe, a calming scent. You press your cheek to it. The warmth of the fire still reaches you. Not strong, but enough. The sounds of settling deepen, the rustle of cloth, the crack of a joint as someone stretches, a short murmur of something remembered and then forgotten. A man nearby removes his boots with quiet effort. His socks are stitched from thick wool, patched at the heel. He places his boots carefully under the bench and folds a sheepskin over his legs. The motion is familiar, practiced. He's done this 100 times, 1,000, every winter, every night, just like this. One of the elder women, maybe a grandmother, maybe something older, begins whispering what sounds like a prayer, not to be heard, not to be praised, just said gently, like a rhythm between thoughts. She rocks slightly, hands folded in her lap, eyes half closed. The words are old. They don't need translation. You feel them more than you understand them. The fire spits softly as a log shifts. Someone yawns. A baby hiccups once, then sighs into its mother's chest. A hand strokes hair. A shoulder presses gently into another. A blanket is pulled a little higher. The Longhouse is settling. You notice now how the smells have changed. The sharper scents of stew and wood smoke have softened into something deeper. Wool, earth, sleep. There's a weight to the air now, not heavy, not oppressive, just dense with warmth and breath. Someone adds a little water to a pot. It hisses faintly as it touches the coals. The steam rises, slow and white, curling like a slow breath. You could fall asleep now, but you don't have to, because here there's no rush, no right time, just time. The room is darker now, not pitch black. The coals still glow, and the snow outside reflects a silver light that slips in through tiny cracks and roof vents. But most faces are turned downward or to the side. Most eyes are closed, or nearly so. A young man pulls a bone comb from a pouch and passes it across his beard once, twice, then places it back without a word. An old dog stretches its legs in sleep, then curls tighter. The house sighs again. It's not a single breath, but all the little ones stitched together. Dozens of slow, quiet inhalations, all trusting the same thing, that the snow will keep falling, that the fire will keep burning, that someone will always be awake, even if only half so, that the roof will hold, and that sleep, when it comes, will come gently. You adjust your position slightly, your legs stretching, your shoulders dropping. The wool shifts across your chest like a soft tide. You're warmer now, deeper in. A boy murmurs something in a dream. A name, maybe, or just a sound. He rolls over, and someone nearby touches his shoulder gently. That's enough. He settles again. No one speaks of tomorrow. There are no plans to list, no clocks to beat, no meetings to rise for, only the breath between now and later, only the hush of tonight, only the steadiness of warmth and wood and woven time. The coals crack again, faintly. Outside, the wind howls once, long, soft, lonely. But no one reacts. It's far away now. The walls are thick, the thatch is deep. The night will have to wait. In a corner, someone mumbles a last word, a farewell or a blessing. Then nothing. Just fire. Just wool. Just stillness. And just like that, without saying so, the Longhouse sleeps. But we, you and I, are still just barely awake. Only just. And from this low place of rest and quiet breath, we move slowly toward what comes next. The Longhouse sleeps, or at least most of it does. Somewhere, near the central hearth, the coals still whisper. Not loudly, just enough to remind the room. I'm here. I'm warm. I'm still holding the dark at bay. And someone, maybe just one person, remains half awake, seated upright, not moving, just listening, watching. That's the way of it. In long winters in shared homes, the night doesn't belong to silence alone. It belongs to presence, to the small rhythm of someone choosing not to sleep so others can. You are not that person, not tonight, but you are close by. You feel the steadiness of the watcher's breath. Not quick, not anxious, just calm. The kind of calm that lets the fire burn steady. You hear it even in your half-dreaming state. The soft rustle of someone adjusting their cloak, the light shuffle of a log being nudged inward, the brush of woolen sleeves against one another as arms fold again. You open your eyes, just slightly, enough to see the glowing red heart of the hearth, enough to catch the silhouette of the figure who tends it. Not a guard, not a warrior, just a caretaker of sleep. An older man, perhaps, wrapped in layers of undyed wool. His shoulders hunched gently, his hands loose on his lap. His eyes are half-lidded. He does not stare into the flames. He watches past them, not with urgency, with habit. This is a role, and he wears it the way one wears a second skin. He stirs the coals once, softly. No sparks, no great flame, just a whisper of heat renewed. Around him, the Longhouse holds steady. You can see shapes, curled under blankets, stretched out along benches, tucked between straw bundles. Children in their mother's arms, dogs in warm nests of fur and feet, all of them breathing in that slow, shared rhythm. A baby nearby shifts. The watcher hears. He rises, slowly, knees creaking, and pads over on thick woolen socks. He doesn't speak. He just reaches down and adjusts the blanket. The baby stills. The mother never even stirs. The man returns to the hearth, sits again, folds his arms once more, and the watch continues. Outside, the storm is deeper now. Not wild, not howling, but full. Snow is no longer falling in flakes. It moves in sheets, in long, invisible rivers. You can feel it pressing gently against the outer walls. The thatch creaks faintly under the weight. Wind hums through the small gaps like a breath through woodwind. Not music, but not far from it. And the Longhouse? It answers with stillness. Not resistance, just quiet endurance. The roof is bowed. The walls are thick, packed with mud and moss and time. They've stood against hundreds of nights like this, maybe thousands. The watcher rises again, not from alarm, just routine. He checks the curtain at the door, heavy hide still drawn, no draft coming through. He touches the wooden beam beside it, then slides a thick log into the small side fire near the animal's corner. The goats do not stir. The donkey is still. A chicken shifts quietly in its coop, feathered body rising and falling. Then, silence again. He walks slowly past your resting form. You don't move. He doesn't expect you to. You are part of the quiet now, not something he must care for, just something he includes in his round. From where you lie, you notice something now. Above, near the roof beams, the hanging herbs sway ever so slightly, not from a breeze, from breath. The house's breath. A warm current that drifts up from the sleeping bodies and curls into the rafters like fog in a forest. It smells of sleep, wool, smoke, and skin. Not unpleasant, familiar. Like being wrapped in something older than memory. Time does not pass quickly now. There are no bells to count it, no light to mark it. Only the rhythm of a man who does not sleep, who moves every so often, who listens when others cannot. He pauses again, this time to take a sip from a wooden flask. Warm broth. The scent of juniper and ash drifts briefly past. He closes his eyes for a few seconds, maybe longer, but he does not sleep. Near the fire, another sleeper stirs, not fully awake, just turning. A woman murmurs something into her blanket. A child kicks one foot free, then draws it back again. The dog sighs. These are not interruptions. They are the song of the room. And all the while, the watcher sits. Sometimes he places another stick in the fire. Sometimes he shifts his legs. Sometimes he hums. A slow, tuneless thread that unwinds across the space like mist across snow. You don't know the tune, but it doesn't matter. It carries you anyway. And now, boss, your mind begins to drift again, not into thought, but into feeling. You are still in the Longhouse. You are still warm, still safe, but your limbs feel weightless now. Your chest rises and falls like the tide. The firelight behind your eyelids is fading. The hum in your ears is steady and deep. You are not asleep, but you are not awake either. You are somewhere in between, a place where time folds, where breath slows, where sound becomes memory. The watcher is still there, still tending, and for now, that's enough. Because you know, even if no one says it, even if no one promises, someone always stays awake a little longer, just long enough for you to slip gently into the dark, long enough for the fire to hold, long enough for the snow to fall without reaching you. You let go of your thoughts. You loosen the string of your attention. You let yourself fall, not down, not away, just inward, into the warmth, into the hush, into the fold between midnight and morning. And in the next chapter, we won't open our eyes to noise or daylight. We'll just follow the rhythm. Not as a change, not as a new place, just as the next heartbeat of the night. There is no exact moment when you fall asleep. It isn't a switch, isn't a curtain dropping. It's more like mist thickening, breath slowing, the firelight behind your eyes growing fainter until it no longer matters whether they're open or not. The warmth has become part of you now. You don't feel it as heat. You feel it as weightlessness, like floating just beneath the surface of a very still lake. All around you, bodies rest, some on straw pallets, some on benches softened with wool and hide, some tucked in pairs, limbs threaded together beneath furs. The air is warm, but not heavy. It moves softly between sleeping mouths and loose braids, brushing gently over closed eyelids. The fire no longer flickers, it glows, a low, deep orange that casts no shadows now, only quiet presence. And in this hush, the Longhouse dreams. Not as one mind, but as many dreams stitched into the same blanket. Some are clear, some are scattered, some are little more than feeling. You have one too, though you couldn't say what it's about. It's not a story, it's a place. You are walking through tall pine trees, maybe, or floating through smoke above a hearth, or sitting, cross-legged, in the snow. But you are not cold. It changes. And it doesn't matter. Someone nearby murmurs in their sleep. You don't turn. But your dream adjusts to make space for the sound. A pot creaks as it settles into the coals. Your dream becomes warmer. You dream of fur, of pressure against your shoulders, of a hand resting gently on your back, not to wake you, just to remind you, I'm here. And you believe it. The animals are quiet too. Even the goats doze, their hooves twitching now and then. One of the cows exhales, slow and thick and warm. The donkey's ears shift once, but its eyes do not open. The house is breathing, not metaphorically, truly. It expands and contracts with the rhythm of so many sleepers, dozens of chests rising and falling in imperfect, gentle unison. The air thickens with that softness. You could almost scoop it in your hand. You turn slightly beneath your blanket. Not fully, just a shift in weight. The wool adjusts with you, keeping the warmth sealed in. Your foot touches someone else's, bare, cold. They don't move it, neither do you. The connection is enough. Sleep continues, and now your dream deepens. You're no longer just drifting, you're sinking, slowly, like falling through a snowbank that doesn't stop you. You are falling into silence, into history, into the breath of everyone who came before you and made this longhouse what it is. You see hands shaping beams. You smell smoke from a fire lit years ago. You hear lullabies that don't belong to any language you know, and they comfort you. You dream of food you've never eaten, of arms you've never known holding you, of fur-lined robes and carved spoons and footprints in snow you've never touched. It isn't memory, it's belonging. Outside, the snow is deep now. So deep it has buried the smaller paths, covered the outer well, pressed against the animal pens like a second roof. But none of it reaches you. You are under the skin of the night, and the night is kind. In one corner of the longhouse, a woman turns in her sleep. She smiles faintly. You don't know why, but your dream shifts again, becomes a little brighter. You are watching a fire through glass. You are combing your hair with a carved bone pick. You are walking a shoreline you've never seen, and your feet are warm. Someone places a flower on the table beside your bed. It is winter, but the flower doesn't wilt. In the longhouse, someone stirs. A young man, maybe no older than 16 winters, wakes to tend to the side fire. His feet pad lightly across the packed earth. He kneels. He blows gently. You do not wake. But in your dream, wind stirs the trees. A little flame catches at the edge of a branch, not to burn, just to light your way. The boy returns to his bed. He curls into his cloak, one hand over his chest. He is asleep again before he can finish turning. Now the dream grows quieter. You're not moving. You're simply resting inside it. Inside wool. Inside warmth. Inside a story that doesn't need a plot to hold you. You dream of things that have no shape. The warmth of a spoon lifted to your lips. The tug of a braid being woven in silence. The sound of boots being removed at the end of a long day. The smell of baked grain gone cold. You are not thinking. You are only feeling. And what you feel is safe. The room breathes again. Someone sighs. A cloak is drawn tighter, and still no one wakes. Because no one needs to. Because the night is doing its work. And somewhere still, the watcher sits. Maybe a different one now. Maybe the elder has passed the task to another. A young woman this time, eyes clear, face lit by the coals. She holds a cup between her hands. She stirs it, then sips, and she listens. Not for danger, just for rhythm, just for peace. Your breath is deeper now. You've joined the sleep fully. There is no more thinking, only drifting, only warmth. Only the hush of many lives woven gently around you like strands of wool. And when the dream finally dims, when it becomes nothing more than the feel of fur against skin, of heat at your feet, of silence wrapped like a gift. Even then, you are not lost. You are still here. You are still held. And in the next chapter, boss, we don't need to wake. We'll only shift slightly. Turn over. Adjust the blanket. Breathe again. And continue. Because the night isn't over yet, and neither are we. There's a stillness that comes just before the first thought returns. Not morning, not yet. Not the moment you wake and stretch and decide things. Just that in-between hour, where your body shifts without your mind knowing it, where warmth and weight and dream still hold sway. That's where you are now. You haven't woken. But you've floated slightly upward, still in the warm depth of sleep, but not as far down. You stir once beneath the furs, not to rise, just to shift your shoulder against the wool. The motion is instinctive. Your mind does not reach for it. It simply happens. The blanket doesn't fall away. It follows you, clinging softly, holding the warmth like a second skin. The Longhouse hasn't changed much. The fire is lower now. Just coals, soft and crimson, spread out like islands on dark soil. One or two pieces of half-burned wood remain, glowing faintly at their ends. There is no crackle, no hiss. Only the whisper of heat drifting upward like breath. The air has cooled, just a little. Not cold, not sharp, just different. A faint memory of the outside presses lightly on the wood. You inhale through your nose. The smell of ash is thinner now, tinged with moss and animal fur and worn wool. Someone nearby shifts in their sleep, muttering something you don't catch. Their arm stretches into your space for a moment, then withdraws, tucking itself under a blanket. The gesture says nothing and everything at once. In the far corner, the animals begin to stir. Not all of them, just one or two. A goat lifts its head, then rests it again. A hen clucks once, confused by some inner rhythm, then goes quiet. The donkey doesn't move at all, but its breath becomes more noticeable, fogging the cold in brief puffs before fading. This is how life signals itself. Not with fanfare, but with breath and warmth and minor sounds. Someone rises. A figure near the hearth, barely more than a shape against the dark. It's a young man this time, likely one of the sons or older boys, rising for no grand reason but habit. He crouches beside the coals, rubbing his hands slowly. No rush. He watches the heat, judging it the way someone judges the mood of a friend, gently, patiently. Then he adds one piece of wood. No noise, just the soft thunk of pine against embers, a puff of smoke, a tiny hiss, the faintest crackle. The room doesn't wake, but the house exhales. The boy doesn't speak. He doesn't need to. He remains kneeling there for a while, head bowed slightly, as if praying or thinking or simply resting in this quiet moment. Then, slowly, he rises and walks toward the animals. His steps are careful, not cautious, but considerate. The goats shift again as he passes. One bleats softly. He reaches out and touches its flank. Not to feed, just to say, "I'm here." He checks the water troughs, breaks the thin crust of ice with his knuckle, adds a scoop from a leather bucket. The water settles with a faint swirl. None of this disturbs the others. They are used to such rhythms. This is how you live in shared space. This is how you tend without waking. You drift again. Not into deep sleep, but into that soft, floating place just beneath awareness. Your dreams don't return, but warmth remains, as do sounds, distant and gentle. Someone is whispering. Not words. A song, maybe. Or a hum. Perhaps a mother to her child. Perhaps to herself. The fire accepts the new wood and begins to burn slowly. A little light returns to the center of the room. It doesn't glow yet, but it pulses, a heart beating inside the floor. Two figures now. The boy has been joined by a woman, perhaps his sister. Her hair is bundled loosely, her sleeves rolled. She moves with quiet efficiency, opening a jar, stirring its contents, ladling something into a clay cup. The boy accepts it with a nod. No speech, no instruction. She sips from another and sets it by the hearth. They do not sit long, just long enough for warmth to reach their fingers. Then they move, slow, practiced, purposeful. These are not early risers. These are necessary ones, the kind who ensure everything else can continue resting. The door covering shifts slightly. No one opens it, but a faint silver light peers in, pale, distant, blurred by snow and frost. It does not brighten the room, but it suggests change. The kind of change that comes not from choice, but from rhythm. Another goat stirs. A child sighs and rolls over. The old dog uncurls just enough to sniff the air. But no one wakes fully. Even the ones who rise do so quietly. The house is not ready to rise. It is preparing. You pull the blanket a little higher. Your body knows, somehow, that the hour has turned. That morning has its hand on the edge of the sky. But it's not time yet. Not really. The warmth beneath the blanket is heavier now. Not because the fire has grown, but because you've surrendered to it more completely. Your limbs are no longer curious. They are content. You let yourself drift sideways on the straw bedding, shoulder meeting warmth where someone else lies nearby. No words, no acknowledgement, just shared heat. A cloak shifts, a hand rests. Two heads turn in opposite directions and settle again. From somewhere across the room, there's the gentle sound of something being crushed. Herbs, perhaps, added to a pot. A small effort, invisible in the dark, but done nonetheless. The scent reaches you a minute later, lavender or mugwort, so faint, but enough. Another child coughs, dry and shallow. The woman stirs and turns them onto their side. Then nothing. The house breathes again. And again. Like a forest in sleep. You hear someone mumble a short blessing, a wish for the day to come. Not a loud one. Just a breath into the coals. Not for prosperity, not for luck. Just let it be soft. And then, slowly, the figures settle once more. The boy lies beside the fire, his cup now empty. The woman returns to her furs. Even the goats are still. Even the wind outside has dulled. It is not dawn. It is before dawn. It is the hour the world forgets to count. You do not speak. You do not think. You only breathe. And you realize quietly that this soft, almost motionless hour may be the kindest part of the night. No expectations, no movement, just breathe, heat, sleep, and those who rise for a moment only to make it last longer for the rest. Light will come. But not all at once, not loudly. It will come the way this hour did, slowly, like a hand warming a shoulder, and we'll be ready for it, together. Light doesn't come all at once. It arrives like a breath held and slowly let go. Not gold, not blue, just pale, soft gray sliding across the highest beams of the Longhouse, barely catching the edges of the roof poles. And yet, the room begins to feel it. Before your eyes open, your skin registers the shift. A subtle thinning of the dark, the smallest invitation to stretch, not from urgency, but from rhythm. You don't wake, not quite, but your body loosens its hold on sleep. Your toes flex, your jaw relaxes. You exhale a little more deeply than before, and across the room, others begin to do the same. No one jumps to their feet, no voices rise, but the posture of the Longhouse is changing. The shapes that once curled in furs now extend. Blankets rise, shoulders shift, breaths become shallower. Some stretch their arms without opening their eyes. Others open them, stare into the rafters, then close them again. The fire is awake before you are. Its coals, fed slowly throughout the night, now lick gently at new wood placed there by early hands. A soft flame flutters, not strong, but steady. It casts no shadows, only warmth. One of the older women is already tending it, sleeves rolled, face near the pot. She stirs with practiced rhythm, lifting the lid, testing with her fingers, pressing down a small bundle of herbs tied in twine. The scent rises, thick and earthy. Grain, bone broth, a hint of sea salt. Nothing sharp, just familiar, filling. You turn slightly, your cheek brushing against the wool. You hear soft movement, footsteps, scraping wood, a ladle against a clay bowl. The room is not loud, it is alive. A baby makes a sound, halfway between a yawn and a whimper. The mother, already awake, lifts the child gently, holds them to her chest. Not for feeding, not for rocking, just for warmth, just for closeness. The baby settles without another sound. One by one, figures begin to rise. The young boy who checked the animals before dawn is folding a wool blanket now, patting it once, then draping it over a bench. He rubs his hands together and blows into them. Not from cold, from habit. A man sits upright, rubbing his knees. His eyes are puffy with sleep, but there's no rush in him. He bends forward, stretches his back, then pulls a boot toward him and begins to tug it on slowly. Two goats bleat, not loudly, just a polite request. Another boy, younger, maybe 7 or 8, walks barefoot to the stall. His hair is tousled. He doesn't speak, just feeds them a handful of hay and leans against the post while they chew. He looks back toward the room, eyes glassy with sleep, then returns, crawling back under the blanket next to his older brother. The goats will be fine. There's still time to rest. A low conversation begins. Just 2 voices near the far end, a woman and an older man. Their tones are soft, slow. They do not laugh. They do not whisper. They simply talk in the way people do when they've shared hundreds of mornings. Words like, still snowing. Check the roof after stew. He's warm. Let him sleep. They do not need more than that. They've said everything before. Steam curls above the pot now. A wooden spoon stirs slowly. 2 small bowls are placed beside it. The woman ladles one, thick with barley, scraps of root, shreds of something boiled until soft. She carries it to a man still wrapped in fur. He sits up slowly. She hands him the bowl. No eye contact, no greeting. He takes it with both hands and begins to eat. The spoon moves from bowl to bowl again, steady and unthinking. This is nourishment, but also tradition. To be fed, quietly, is as much care as any word. The rest of the Longhouse remains drowsy. Some still sleep fully, tucked between skins, chins pressed to chests, eyes fluttering in the final corners of dreams. A girl scratches her nose, then rolls over. A dog pads across the room, pauses to sniff a sleeping bundle, then settles nearby with a deep sigh. The room smells like breakfast and fire, wool and steam, boiled roots and burned fat. It is not a scent of indulgence, but it is full. It says, "We made it through the night." You open your eyes now, just a little. You don't rise. But you see more clearly. The shapes, the movement, the flicker of life returning to the space. The fire no longer glows. It shines, faintly. The door covering remains shut, but its edges are pale now. Snowlight bleeds around it, silvery, soft, gentle. Someone brushes hair with a bone comb. Someone pulls on a fresh tunic over bare shoulders. Someone ties dried herbs into a loop and hangs it near the vent. For scent, for blessing, for nothing in particular. A child laughs once in their sleep. No one scolds. No one even notices. You stretch your legs beneath the fur. Your feet are warm. Your chest rises and falls without effort. You could rise now. But you don't need to. Not yet. Across the room, the woman who tends the pot now adds water to it, stretching the stew for those still to wake. She lays a cloth over a small stack of bread, rough, torn, hard at the edges. She doesn't hurry. The morning is coming, and it will come without being chased. A man begins to sing, not a song with words, but a hum, deep, repetitive, a rhythm more than a melody. It matches the motion of his hands as he cleans a tool by the fire. No one joins in, no one needs to. The sound is just there, like the crackle of logs, the clink of bowls, the shuffle of socks on packed earth. Someone opens the curtain to check the sky. A breath of cold air swirls in, but only for a moment. The sky is still white, still snowing, but gentler now, finer flakes, drifting like dust. The curtain closes again. Inside, it is warmer than ever, not because the fire is strong, but because the night has passed, and the house, once again, has held. Your mind is waking now, slowly, but not with thoughts, with awareness of warmth, of breath, of others. You are not alone here. You never were. Someone brings you a small bowl, places it near your side without speaking. You don't reach for it yet. You're still resting, still stretched between the fire and the fur, between the breath of sleep and the soft pull of day. You close your eyes again, just for a few more heartbeats. And in the next chapter, morning may come fully, the door may open, the snow may be met, voices may rise again, but not harshly, not loudly, just like now, in rhythm, in breath, in care. We'll go there together, warm, fed, and unhurried. The day doesn't begin with a horn or a shout. It begins with the door curtain being drawn back, not quickly, not loudly, but slowly, as if someone is easing open the edge of the world. A wash of white light enters, not golden, not blue, just soft and gray, filtered through snowfall and frost. It doesn't blind, it cools, and someone steps out. You don't see who it is at first. You only hear the hush that follows, that sudden lack of sound, that stillness only snow can make. Then a few muffled steps, boots pressing into snow, not crunching, sinking. Then the faint scuff of wood on wood as something is lifted, adjusted, carried. You turn slightly beneath your furs and glimpse the curtain still drawn open, light slanting inward like steam. A boy walks past you, bundled in wool, a leather hood fur-lined, his arms full of firewood, his breath fogging. He doesn't speak, but the air around him says enough. It's morning. More begin to rise now, not all at once, not with speed, but with purpose. The fire is stirred again. A few bowls are passed around. The stew is thinner now, more water than grain, but warm. People eat quickly, efficiently. A woman hands a child a scrap of bread. He takes it and rubs his eyes with the back of his wrist. Someone passes you a mug, not full, but enough. You sip without sitting up. It tastes like smoke, salt, and barley. It tastes like morning. A group gathers near the door. A man ties a thick belt around his tunic. Another adjusts his boots. A younger girl tugs her sleeves over her hands, eyes still half shut. They exchange a few words, low, practical. Then one by one they step outside. The cold greets them like a held breath, not biting, not cruel, but full. The snow has continued, but gently, a fresh layer, maybe a finger's depth, covering yesterday's tracks. The air is white, not from fog, from stillness. The sky overhead is a pale slate, unbroken. No sun, just quiet wait. The first chore is simple: gather snow to melt. A woman takes a wide basin and presses it gently into a drift. She scoops, presses again, scoops. Another carries the basin to the fire. The snow begins to hiss in the pot, not angrily, just steadily. Steam curls upward. The second chore: Check the roof. A man climbs a short ladder to the outer slope. He knocks gently at the thatch, shaking free the heaviest patches. Snow falls in soft cascades, pattering against the ground like a thick whisper. He doesn't speak, doesn't call for help. He knows this roof. It's been here longer than he has. Each log, each seam of straw has been packed and mended across seasons, across generations. Someone opens the goat pen. The animals blink slowly, stepping forward with reluctance. Their hooves vanish beneath the snow. One bleats. Another nudges the boy's side. He laughs, not loudly, and rubs its ear. Hay is scattered into a trough. The goats eat quickly, eager but not desperate. The donkey stays curled in its corner of the shelter, eyes half shut, one ear twitching. It can wait. You are still indoors, still beneath your furs, still warm. But you see the light now, reflecting from snow onto beams, casting soft shadows across the room. More people have risen. A girl plats her hair while seated on the bench. An older woman rolls her shoulders and sighs. Two boys play with a scrap of rope, threading it through their fingers like a game. The Longhouse is no longer asleep, but it is not bustling either. It wakes like an animal, stretching one limb at a time, blinking slowly. Someone shakes out a cloak by the door. Someone pours a ladle of snow water into a bowl for washing. Someone sneezes. Another bundle of kindling is carried in and placed near the hearth. The door remains half open now, letting in the pale gray air. No one complains. The warmth inside is strong enough to hold its own. You rise, finally, slowly. Your joints are stiff but not cold. You fold your blanket back and stretch, feet pressing into the thick straw. It shifts under you with a soft crunch. A pair of boots waits nearby. You tug them on. The leather is worn smooth at the ankles. Familiar, easy. You stand. The world sways just a little, not from weakness, but from the way dreams still linger in your bones. You breathe and step toward the light. Outside, it is quiet. But it's not empty. People move steadily, without waste. A young girl is clearing the path from the Longhouse to the woodshed, dragging a stick along the snow to mark the trail for others. Two men are shifting firewood from one stack to another, checking for damp logs. The water pot bubbles now, half full of melt. Someone adds herbs, pine maybe. The steam smells green, slightly sweet. You carry a bowl toward it. You pour. You sip. The warmth travels down your throat like a story you already know. And then, nothing urgent. No orders, no tasks shouted, only rhythm. Someone repairs a tear in a fur cloak. Someone sharpens a blade with careful strokes. Someone brushes snow from a stool, then sits in silence to watch the sky. You hear birds now. Not many. Just one or two. Calling faintly from the trees beyond the smokehouse. Their cries are thin, distant. But they remind you, the world is still here, still waking. Inside the Longhouse, breakfast is nearly finished. A woman folds the cloth over the bread again. A child runs in, cheeks red, breath fogging. He is scolded lightly, not harshly. His boots are wiped. His hands are warmed by the fire. The curtain closes behind him. And once again, the room holds its warmth. You return to your bench. Sit, breathe. There is no fire in the sky yet. No blue, no gold, no sun. But the day has begun. And it began gently. The kind of day that starts not with ambition, but with survival, with care, with small motions made large through repetition. You sip from your bowl again. You listen to boots outside, to water simmering, to the steady hum of chores, and you stay wrapped in the quiet. Because there will be labor ahead. There will be meals to stretch, repairs to finish, wood to cut. But for now, you've stepped into the day without being broken by it. You've met the snow without fear. You've risen into the cold without losing the warmth of night. We'll simply keep moving. step by soft step into the stillness of a winter day, together. Midday in winter doesn't blaze. It hums. It doesn't strike you like summer sun or send sharp shadows across the ground. Instead, it settles softly over the snow, the roof, the shoulders of those who've spent the morning moving wood or melting ice. The sky is pale now, still colorless, still hushed. But there is more light than before. Inside the Longhouse, you feel it first on the beams, strips of brightness sliding down the posts. They do not warm the skin, but they remind you that time is passing, that it's no longer morning, that the fire still holds, that there is life. You've eaten something small, not a feast, just enough. A scoop of broth, a torn piece of bread, a few strands of dried fish softened in hot water. The cup in your hand is no longer steaming, but you hold it anyway. It fits neatly between your fingers. The weight is comforting. Across the room, others are doing the same. A man sits cross-legged, working a comb through his beard with slow strokes. A girl, maybe 9 or 10 winters old, is mending a tear in her tunic, tongue between her teeth in concentration. A mother braids a younger child's hair while they chew absently on a stick of smoked root. No one speaks loudly, but words pass quietly. Thoughts are shared in fragments, the kind that don't need replies. The fire is strong again now, not roaring, but steady. It has been fed and stirred and watched. Someone always watches it, not because they're told to, just because they care. It's central, after all, not just for heat, for rhythm. Every few minutes, someone turns toward it, adds a piece of wood, lifts a pot, settles closer. Without thinking, children play now, but only in the way that cold allows. There's no running, no shouting. One child slides a carved bone figure slowly through the straw, narrating some quiet drama only he understands. Another traces circles on the floor with a charred stick. A small girl tries on her older sister's boots and shuffles 2 steps before losing balance and falling into the bedding, laughing into her own sleeve. No one tells her to stop. No one needs to. A group of women begin weaving near the far wall, not on looms, not here, but by hand. Spools of thread dyed long ago in summer are being knotted into rope or twisted into braid. One of them hums as she works. Not a song exactly, just a rise and fall in her throat, like breathing in tune, like remembering something quietly. The others don't join in, but the sound settles among them, unspoken and welcome. Outside, the snow has slowed. It doesn't fall, it drifts. Tiny flakes, almost invisible, suspended in a windless hush. No one is out in it now, not unless they need to be. The morning's work is done. The goats are fed. The water pot is full. The firewood has been brought in. This part of the day belongs to stillness. You lie back against a wool-wrapped bolster, staring upward. The roof beams are darker now, soaked with the smoke of years. They cross each other like ribs, like the belly of something large and safe. A few herbs hang from the rafters: sage, mugwort, dried garlic. A leather pouch, tied tight, sways faintly near the vent. Above that, a triangle of white sky. Nothing moves, but it's not empty. You close your eyes, you open them again. It doesn't matter. Somewhere behind you, 2 men speak softly. Not about dreams, not about gods, about leather, how to patch a broken strap, how the last one lasted 4 winters, how the next one might hold longer if the edge is singed. One of them laughs once, quietly, the other snorts. A pause, then silence. They've said enough. The Longhouse shifts again, not in volume, in posture. People lean back, hands slow, heads rest against beams. Even the children's play quiets, the little carved bone man now lying on his side, forgotten in the straw. Someone sharpens a blade. The sound is soft, stone against edge, measured and calm. A cloak is stitched at the hem. The needle moves in and out like breathing. A dog curls tighter in the corner, one paw twitching. A girl untangles a string of beads, setting each one in a line across her blanket. A pot is stirred. Once. No one says the word midday, but everyone knows it's here. The door covering is closed now, not because it's cold, but because nothing is needed from the outside. The house is whole. The people are inside it, and the light, though thin, is kind. You reach for something, not out of hunger or thirst, just to feel the motion of reaching. A bowl, a cloth, a piece of carved wood, your fingers wrap around it. Hold, release. The motion is enough. You could nap again. Many will. Sleep doesn't follow a clock here. It follows need. Someone nearby exhales through their nose, a long, low breath of someone settling. Another adjusts the fur at their feet. Another folds a tunic and tucks it beneath a pillow for later. There is nothing dramatic in these motions, but they matter. Because this quiet, fire-warmed, straw-scented midday is its own kind of survival. You glance around. One person has fallen asleep again, head bowed, mouth slightly open. Two others have begun scraping hides near the back wall. The sound is faint, rhythmic, efficient. No one tells them to stop. No one tells them to begin. Even the fire has found its pace now. Not crackling, not fighting, just glowing. The logs collapse inward. The coals shift. The heat expands. And for a few long minutes, nothing changes. Then a small sign. A child whispers a question. Someone stands and walks slowly to the rear of the Longhouse. They return with a bundle of cloth. They begin sorting it, piece by piece. Boots, tunics, gloves. It is time to think of evening. But not yet to act. The Longhouse breathes again, and you, warm and still, feel it in your ribs. Not because it's loud, but because it's steady, and it holds. In the next chapter, boss, the light will begin to shift. The gray will dim, the fire will rise, people will begin to prepare. But not yet. For now, we'll let the midday hush stretch just a little longer. No rush, no noise, just warmth, and wool, and the breath of people who know how to make quiet last. Afternoons fade differently in winter. There's no sharp fall of sun, no flash of orange over the horizon. Just a slow unraveling of gray, a soft undoing. And in the Longhouse, you feel it before you see it. The shadows stretch longer, pooling beneath benches and furs. The firelight grows bolder, not because it burns hotter, but because the light around it has begun to loosen its hold. You don't need to check the sky. The bones of the house tell you evening is near. Your hands are idle now. There's no rush to complete the last chore, no ticking clock, just the sense, shared by all, that it's time to close the day. Someone gathers the last of the twine. Another folds the half-mended cloak, needle still attached. The children are quieter, their play more curled than scattered, heads resting on laps, small hands smoothing wool. The rhythm is slower now. Every motion seems to end with a pause. The fire is stirred again. A thicker log added. A gentle shower of sparks rises and falls like stars caught in breath. A woman stands near the pot, the same one as morning, though its contents have changed. Thicker now, richer. She tastes with the side of the spoon, nods once, then lowers the lid. It's not ready yet, but it's close. Someone passes you a pair of socks, warm, dry, thick with felted wool. You pull them on slowly. Your toes stretch. The heat seeps in. Your heels settle back onto straw. Outside, the snow has changed. It's no longer falling. It rests now. Still, layered, content. Even the wind has stilled, like a dog settling its haunches beside the wall. A boy brushes the soot off a lantern, checks the oil. Another places kindling near the door for tomorrow's fire. A young woman threads new twine through the drawstring of a wool bag, tugging it tight, then loosing it, then tying a knot. Someone opens the door briefly, just to look, then closes it again. No words are spoken, but the message is clear. The world outside has dimmed. Inside it is warmer than ever, not by degree, but by density. The kind of warmth that comes not just from fire, but from people having remained, having endured. The stew is ready. Bowls are passed slowly, hand to hand. No ceremony, no announcements. Just the familiar clink of spoon in clay. The quiet exhale that follows the first mouthful. A nod of thanks, a folded leg, a shared glance. There are no seconds, but there is enough. The children eat with soft chewing sounds, shoulders pressed together. One dozes before finishing, spoon held loosely. His bowl is taken gently before it spills. No one scolds him. He's done enough today. The light fades further, not suddenly, just inevitably. One lantern is lit, then another. They're not bright, just steady. Their glow joins the fire, and for a moment, it feels like the Longhouse breathes light from within. Like the warmth has turned visible. You lean back now. Not in weariness, in acceptance. The day is done. There is no more to accomplish. What was needed was done. What wasn't can wait. Someone tells a short story. Not dramatic, not new. Something about a fox seen near the river. About its tracks in the snow. About how it vanished before they could catch it. There is no lesson in the story. No climax, no warning. Just a sharing of something. And somehow, that's enough. A mother checks her child's feet, pulls the blanket higher over their chest, brushes back a strand of hair. A dog yawns loudly, then curls again beside the central beam. The goat pens remain still. Even the oldest man, who hasn't spoken since morning, now clears his throat, but says nothing. Just breathes, just sits. The house feels round now. Whole. The day has folded inward, wrapped itself in wool and wood smoke. And you, settled again in your place, feel no desire to rise. A hand rests lightly on your shoulder, not to wake you, not to rouse, just to remind you, you're here. You nod, just a little, and the hand is gone. But the warmth remains. Lantern light wavers slightly. A draft, perhaps. Or maybe the house itself, settling. The roof doesn't creak. It exhales. The floor doesn't shake. It rests. The walls don't watch. But they remember. No one moves with purpose now, just habit. A mug is rinsed. A cloak is hung. A bowl is placed upside down on the shelf so no dust finds it overnight. The fire is stirred one last time before second sleep. The door is checked. The embers spread. The ashes banked. You don't speak. You don't need to. The glow around you says everything. That the day was hard, but not cruel. That the cold came, but didn't win. That the dark arrived, but wasn't alone. And as your eyes begin to lower, and your head finds the bend in your elbow, and your knees draw up slightly just to fit better beneath the furs, you hear a voice, soft and close, not loud, not sharp, just, sleep now, it's all right. And it is. Let this night deepen. Let the fire fade slowly. Let breath and body find their way to stillness. You've done enough. Let the quiet hold you. Midnight in the Longhouse doesn't arrive with bells or clocks. It arrives in silence, settles like dust. Not even the fire speaks now. Its center glows low and red, no longer flame, just memory. Ash piled high, coals tucked deep. A breath of heat, a whisper of light. The world is quiet. But it's not empty. You lie still, wrapped in wool, blankets tucked up to your chin. One arm outside the fur, fingers open against the straw. Your chest rises, slowly. Falls, rises again. Sleep holds you, but not fully. The kind of sleep that hears a cough across the room, that feels a nearby foot shift in its place, that knows the shape of dreams and the sound of water settling in a pot. This is second sleep, not the first descent into rest, the exhausted plunge. This is the drift, the floating, where dreams come slower, where you wake just enough to turn, where you forget that you were ever awake at all. Around you, others breathe. A baby sighs. A man coughs once, then quiets. Someone snores softly, not loud, but rhythmic. The dog stirs, scratches once, circles, settles again. The room never stills entirely, but it never startles. It lives in the balance. Your body turns gently, not in need, just instinct. You pull your legs higher, tuck one arm beneath your head. The furs shift with a soft sound, like paper folding. The fire doesn't flare, but it glows, enough to show the edge of a bench, the curve of a bowl, the line of someone's knee against the blanket. It is not darkness, it is dimness, the kind that lets you see but not sharply. In your half-sleep, you dream, not vividly, not with story, but with image, a stretch of coastline, the shape of your mother's hands, a bird landing on snow, a boat, unmoving, trapped in ice, a wool cloak lifting in wind. They come without force, stay without weight. They're not visions, they're rememberings, even ones you never lived. A child whispers something in sleep, a word, or just a sound. A nearby figure shifts. A hand reaches across a shared blanket, resting on someone else's shoulder. It stays there. Both continue sleeping. Time passes strangely in this hush. Minutes do not march, they seep. An hour can drift past like a single breath, or stretch out like a slow tide. There is no need to track it. No candles to measure, no bells to strike, only the slow dance of breath and warmth. Someone rises, briefly, not fully awake. A soft sound of feet on straw. A cup lifted, a sip, a pause. Then the figure returns. Rewraps themselves. Gone again, as if it never happened. You are between dreams now, not dreaming, not fully awake, just floating. You feel the heat of another body nearby, not touching but close. The familiar scent of their skin, wool, sleep. You do not open your eyes. You do not need to. The world is where you left it. Sometimes people speak in sleep, not full sentences, just pieces, names, places. A single word, wait. It's not unsettling. It's just human. We carry stories even when we sleep. Outside, the world is deeper than black. The snow has ceased. The clouds remain. The wind has gone elsewhere. But the cold is absolute. It presses against the walls, creeps at the edges of the vent, tries the door covering, but it's kept out, because the Longhouse is built not just of wood, but of memory, of hands that packed moss into cracks, of bodies that slept shoulder to shoulder for generations, of breath, still shared in the dark. Inside, the fire breathes. So do you. A creak in the rafters, a sigh, a stillness, then a new sound, the faintest rustle of dried herbs, someone turning beneath them. Your dream shifts again, now a field, golden and endless, now the voice of someone long dead, humming, now the sound of boots crunching snow. You dream without needing to understand. You trust it. You follow. You rest. At the far end of the Longhouse, someone stirs again, not to rise, just to adjust the blanket, tuck in a child, place a log quietly beside the hearth for morning. The ember glow flickers at the motion, then returns to steady red. No words are spoken. The fire knows what to do. So does the room. And so do you. You shift your head slightly. Feel the coarse texture of straw beneath your palm. Feel your breath warm the wool. Feel sleep call again, deeper now. You close your eyes once more, and this time, you don't half sleep. You fall, fully, softly, safely. Let the hours pass. Let the dreams return. Let the quiet hold. In the final chapter, the light will return. Snow may still fall, but the sky will change. The Longhouse will stir again. But not yet. Now, there is only this breath, this bed, this warmth. Let second sleep carry you. Let the night continue. Dawn does not arrive all at once. There is no fanfare, no sudden brightness, no cry of rooster or clash of time. It comes like everything else here, slow, software certain, and before you see it, you feel it. A subtle lifting of darkness, a loosening at the edges of the roof vent, a breath of cold touched by silver. You stir just a little. Not from urgency, not from need, but from instinct. A shift beneath the furs, a long breath in, a deeper breath out. You are not fully awake, but you are not deeply asleep. You rest in the pause between. And around you, the Longhouse is doing the same. One by one, the sleepers begin to turn. A body curls more tightly. A foot seeks warmth and finds it. Someone exhales through their nose, shifts a shoulder beneath the blanket, and drifts again. No one speaks. There are no footsteps yet. But something has changed. The deepest part of night is over. The fire is low. Just coals now, barely red. But they glow, waiting. A woman rises quietly. She moves with practiced grace, not even needing to see. She kneels beside the hearth, lifts a stick of kindling, presses it to the coals. A curl of smoke, a flicker, then a flame, small but awake. She breathes onto it. It grows. The fire is back. You see it before you feel it. A new light, golden, flickering, climbs the walls of the Longhouse. It makes shadows dance across the rafters. It touches the face of a sleeping child. It glints in the water bowl, and still the morning holds its hush. A man rises next. He bends stiffly, his joints reluctant. He scratches his beard, yawns soundlessly, and reaches for his boots. Another body rises beside him, wraps a cloak around her shoulders, and shuffles toward the goat pen. No one speaks, but there is a rhythm now. Small, steady returns to movement. You sit up, not quickly, not with purpose, just because your body tells you it is time. Your breath fogs faintly in the morning chill, but you are not cold, not truly. The warmth lingers in your bones, in the fabric of your tunic, in the memory of the night. The door curtain is lifted, just slightly. Pale light spills in, soft, not yet gold. The snow outside gleams, no longer threatening, just present, like a guest who stayed the night. A pot is placed above the fire again. Water, grains, a pinch of salt. No one needs to ask what it's for. Everyone knows. The same as yesterday, the same as tomorrow. A child wakes, blinks, reaches for their mother's hand. It is given. No words, just touch. You stand slowly, stretch. The air against your skin feels alive. The weight of the night lifts, even as your shoulders remain draped in wool. You gather your blanket, fold it once, smooth the straw beneath your place. Sit again. A bowl is passed. You eat slowly. The porridge is plain, warm, simple, enough. You chew, you swallow, you breathe. Someone laughs. Barely a chuckle. Someone else answers with a hum. The dog stretches, tail thumping twice against the floorboards. The longhouse feels wide now, wider than before, because the day has begun, not loudly, not suddenly, but gently, and everyone is in it. A girl ties her hair with a length of twine. A man sharpens a blade, but without urgency. A boy feeds the goats again, humming to them as they nuzzle the hay. The fire hisses once, catching at the pot's edge. Steam rises, and with it, the rhythm of the day. Outside, the snow sparkles. The clouds have thinned. Somewhere above them, the sun waits. But no one needs to see it yet. The light inside is enough. It dances on the beams, settles on the old wood, touches each face in turn. You finish your bowl, place it beside you, wrap your cloak a little tighter. You are not tired anymore, not hungry, not cold, just quiet and alive. The child beside you lifts a wooden toy, the same one from yesterday, and begins again the slow motions of play. Another begins relacing her boots. The men gather briefly to exchange a few quiet words. Nothing loud, just plans for wood, for traps, for walking the ridge trail. Life begins again, not as something new, but as something continued. You rise once more, fold your arms across your chest, step toward the doorway. The light beyond is wide, clear, clean, and the long night is behind you, not defeated, just endured, and left behind. You did not race through it. You did not fight it. You lived it, hour by hour, breath by breath, and you are still here. There is no music, no triumph, only warmth and wool and breath, only the hush that follows night, the first whisper of birds, the crackle of fresh firewood catching, and in that stillness, let it end, not with a close, but with a continuation, because the snow may fall again, the night may return, the cold may press in once more, but so will the warmth, the hands, the hearth, so will the breath that fogs the air, and the arms that pull you near, and the quiet voice that says, "You're all right. Go back to sleep. Let the story rest. Let the longhouse fade. Let your breath slow. Let your eyes close. Let morning find you when it's ready. You've survived the night. Now drift and be still and let them sleep."